mission, on mission. I'm trying to get it right. Transition, changing the way that I see life. Transition mind. I'm on a mission, trying to get it right. I'm transitioning my life. Making a transition. Ooh, making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Ooh, ooh. Turn a mission, a mission. I'm on a mission. On a mission, I'm trying to get it right. Changing the way that I see life. Transition in my life. On a mission, on a mission, on a mission.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Alchemizing Energy, aka DJ Genesis Detroit, and we are here with a special guest, Yashibiyah Zakaya. Welcome to the show.
How you doing?
I wanted to give a little background of who you are and who is.
Well,
Where'd you get your start? Who are you?
who am I? Oh, ooh. Now that's a heavy question. Who am I? I'm a supreme being that is a male. That's what the creator created first. The creator created first a supreme being that was male and female. This is how I was taught by my two grandmothers and my big papa and my whole family. And this is what he created first. He created him in his image, meaning that you walking around on earth is a supreme being. Somebody else created a human being that was a man and a woman. And then the woman turned into wind man. And all of them compound words, you got to break them down. I teach knowledge. There are two types of knowledge that when you Google it or look it up, there are two types of knowledge. Do you know what those two types of knowledges are?
You know what? I'm not going to pretend like I can read your mind.
Just yes or no.
I don't
Either
know. No.
well, you don't know. Okay, so well, then you finna learn. It is called esoteric knowledge and exoteric knowledge. Now, you had to know which one is which. Esoteric knowledge is found in a secret society. Exoteric knowledge is what they teach you in a system called school system, and you got a doctor's degree with a magna cum laude, a summa cum laude, and a cum laude in this school system. This is the difference. All governments, every government in the world is ran by a secret society. When you teach esoteric knowledge, you use the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and how. And the 1 H, you go in a chronological order. You have to go in a chronological order. Who was 1, 2, 3, using etymology, which is the study of the origin of the word. And when we study the history of the Anglo-Saxon, which is renamed himself America 248 years ago, then you had to understand this language that we're speaking is not English. This language that we're speaking is read from left to right. All colored people's language is read from right to left. So you have a language that you don't know the history of where it come from. This is the study that Cole and I did and been teaching out of these studies since '98. And this is some history and stuff that people don't understand. All governments is a secret society. It's no government that you can name is not ran by a secret society.
All of
It's
them.
not, all of them. Now, the next thing that
Before you go further, I first want to say, okay, how young are you, sir?
well, I'm 80.
Okay. Now, a
Yeah.
lot of times I get a lot of flack for bringing on the elders onto my channel. People say, "Well, I'm tired of seeing the elders. I want to see some young people." You get enough of that all over YouTube. If you want to see some young people, go on to YouTube and just pick a channel. Okay. I tend to focus on our elders. Why? Because their breadth of knowledge, the things that they have learned, are getting lost in the sauce. So I want people to listen. If you're gonna be here, you need to listen and take the knowledge from our elders. So we're gonna get into what government is, what is society, what is religion, all this thing, and this young man at the young age of 80 is going to give us this knowledge, and it's very important that we take it in. Listen, go get a notepad out, take notes, because it's not very often that you get a elder able to like sit down with you and give you this knowledge. So once again, I just want to like just make that plain and just move on. I'm sorry. And this will be the last thing, sir. I just want to make that be plain for anybody that's wondering why do I have an elder on here? Because I love my elders, love my ancestors. I love all of our people, you know, and we need to revere our elders. So go ahead, sir.
Okay. The next person when we studying, we have to ask ourselves a question. What secret society is America government? Now, that's interesting because we have to do a research on how secret societies work. Each secret society has a seal and the members has a shield. So when we ask ourselves about the government of the United States, we have to go to where? The Great Seal of the United States of America. Then when we ask ourselves, who do that Great Seal belong to? What Masonic order, which is the secret societies are often to a Masonic order, does this Great Seal belong to? And we will see that it is present day Scottish Rite Illuminati Masons. Now, we have to go find out who the Scottish Rite Illuminati Masons is. Now, when I found this out, books like I'm finna show you, they wasn't out. Not these books. This book here, it's called Evil Secret Societies in History by Shirley Klein. You get this book and you see that the number one evil is one is who? Let's see, I got it turned upside down like this.
Now it's upside down.
Nine's
Flip
upside
it.
Now
down. Turn it
it's
back over.
upside down. Now, let's see here.
Bring it down. Bring it down.
Bring it
Bring it
down.
down.
You see where it says what? The Illuminatis.
The Illuminati. Okay.
You see it? Okay.
Yes.
So now the next question we asked ourselves is how do they operate? I belong to 12 different Masonic orders. At 3 years old, I was taught the knowledge by my great-great-grandfather, who died in 1960 when I'm a freshman in high school at the age of 120. I lived with him from 3 years old till I was 6 years old in the mountains in Crockett, Texas, where he taught me the knowledge of the crow. He was full-blooded crow. On the weekends, Daddy would pick me up and I would go stay one day on my daddy's farm and with his people, and one day on my mama's farm with her people, who was Cherokee. Daddy's people was Crow. This is how I was raised, with this knowledge of who I were. Great-great-grandpa taught me all about the Masonic order. I didn't know what the hell he was teaching me at that time until I got 7 years old. Then I started understanding, because I started being taught by my uncle, who was my daddy's youngest brother, the Masonic order. The Scottish Rite Masons, they go all the way back into the 1099, the 10th century. So you would have, when you understand their history, but let's get back to this Great Seal. What do these people believe in? Well, when we ask that question, the school system that the Great Seal of America believe in is the Sophite school system. So we would have to understand, ask ourselves a question when we were studying with code, who in the world is the Sophites? I was fortunate, my grandmother, the one that lived to be 114, the one on my mama's side, she had, both of them were librarians at Mayor Allen College. When Mayor Allen College shut down, she got all the books. I got those books, and I've been reading them books since I was 3 years old. so a lot, because I love history. I wanted to know what history was, and my mama and my daddy bought me books, none but history. That's what I was read all of my life. And I have this book that was published in 1888 by Big Mama. They break down all of the schools of thoughts that was in ancient Greek. So when we find out who the Sophite school of thought and what they taught, then you understand who the government is. In fact, the word freedom, the definition of freedom is one who is free from government rule. So in the protocol, it'll tell you freedom is an idea, but it's not a fact. It never will be a fact, because you up under government rule. Anywhere you go in the civilized world, you got two uncivilized tribes in Africa, two uncivilized tribes in India, 150 uncivilized tribes in the Amazon. You got that here, but they still got a government. They got tribal government that you up under. So this word freedom, you can just erase this out of your vocabulary and your mind, because you'll never be free. And not as long as there is a government and a race of people, you will never be free. So this word freedom, you fighting for your freedom, and you that, and they told us go to Vietnam, you fighting for your freedom and doing that, what they told me and Cole. Well, that was a lie. And so when you understand, in other words, like you said, Cole and I got a story to tell. And the story we tell is in a chronological order. So it's not too many questions that you could ask us that you can't explain. We can't explain it to you and don't have the documentation. We have a map that has 250,000 years of documented history of the four hemispheres. The North Hemisphere, the southern hemisphere and the east hemisphere, where my great grandfather teach me, is separated by the great waters from the western hemisphere. You live in the western hemisphere. In the western hemisphere, there was the Olmec, the Aztec, the Maya, the Inca, and the Creek nation, which was 72 different confederations and nations of people that the government named them Indians. Indian is the citizen of the Eastern Hemisphere that is Shem's people, and they call it India now. They didn't call it that at first. That's what it's known as now. The people that lived over here got renamed colored people that was Negroes in 1619 after 64 years from the first African that was brought over here in 1555 by the Queen of England, because the English trading company, that's who brought the first slaves over here on the good ship Jesus of Luxor and John the Baptist. And so when we studied it, we just got a story that we can tell in a chronological order to see what. Now, Big Mama had a book called The Science of Eugenics. That's another subject that people that look like us that we don't know anything about. And that's the science of eugenics. That tells you how a nation of people, the government, these people that's in control, that was in the Scottish Rite Mason Masonic order, that's in control right now, the power of how you genocide a nation of people. I was in Pan Africa the day, and Quete had a bunch of young people in there, and I asked Quete, I said, "Watch this, Quete." I asked them young people, I say, "Do you know what a Negro that was a colored person is?" Every last one of them, they was in their 30s, said, "No, we don't know what it is." This is how you can show right now, Cole, and understand how the science of eugenics work, how you can genocide the fourth generation of people. It only takes 12 years to be. So in 48 years, he's totally genocided. From 1970 to now, it's 54 years. And in 54 years, you got people that's in their 30s, in their 20s, in their teens, and their 10-year-old don't know what a Negro that was a colored person was. They think they are Black African Americans. And the government said it was all right for you to call yourself that in 1970 because they was pacifying Jesse Jackson. That's what Nixon was pacifying him when he's put on there who was a Black African American. Only 1 million people said that they were these fools during this time. They also laid a trick on the Olmec too code they put on there, is you Mexican or Hispanic. See, that's division. That's the Chicano. They put on there, is you African American, or you a Negro, or you a colored person, to try to create the division. That's one form of division.
That's
In the Masonic, in the
genocide, a
yeah,
psychological genocide. I mean,
right.
like I made my arrival. I was trying to catch it, but what we like to, Sister Monica, what I would like to do to prove it, to validate what Brother they call me Cole because I we found other school. We used to have our own school. But if you would look up the history of the word Hispanic, that word means Hispanic. He got nervous, and they was adding the census. They were not in the original census. It was called Mexicans, and it led up. When he started getting power, they started calling him Hispanic. If you look up give you the origin of the word Hispanic etymology, do that, and we'll see. You know, See, there's a psychological genocide going on, and
Yeah.
changing the vibration of one's man's mind. The word Hispanic, you see it, originated from the Latin word, okay, referring to keep look at it though. Keep going. See, in the United States, use it 1960 to create a unified group census, political purpose. You understand? There was no such thing before they were called Hispanic.
When they renamed us called Black African America was for political
Everything is
reasons.
political. Everything, but they label you in groups. That way, they're able to control the narrative of a
Mhm.
people by creating nicknames or bywords that they call you this, but it has nothing to do with your spirit or vibration or frequency.
It-
That's how they throw you off. Go ahead.
let's let's think about something that just recently happened. When Joe Biden appointed the Black Supreme Court lady, he made a statement. He said, the Black woman is the most powerful person in the Democratic Party since 1970. He made that statement on national TV. I called Cole and several other students when he made that statement because most people didn't pick up on what he was saying. Is that's when the total of genocide became effective of what the Masonic order called the Three Ruffians.
Mhm.
See, they go by this Masonic order. You call the Three Ruffians in here. How do they genocide you? Come up under order of the Three Ruffians in the Great Seal of the United States of America teaching. So you can see that the people born after 1970 is totally genocide. That's why you have what you have now. And then they took your culture and look what culture they give you, hip hop culture. And what's so funny about it, it's worldwide now. Even places where in China and Muslim countries where they didn't allow that stuff, the youngster is doing it. And so you can, if you trace this history and look at your history for this 54 years, which it took you only 54 years to get in this condition by being a Black African American and been taught up under that system versus from 1619 to 1907, which is 400 and some years of you being a Negro that was a colored person. Your history back here is great things. But this 54 years of your history is nothing but violence. And you went from a soul sister and a soul brother. That's what me and Cole call each other, to bitch, hoe, dog, and fool. Well, then in the Bible, all four of them words is in the Bible. What do the people that say they Christians believe what this book say? The first time you heard your children calling themselves that, you should have stepped in, but you didn't. Because you can look back in 1970 when Michael Jackson came, you had this boom box with this music, and you don't understand music. They took you off of Miller C in 1964 and started tuning the Fender Rose on 440. And when
8440.
they tune, they trade your whole vibration. I show you how, sister, that the white person, how did they talk in 1960 versus how they talk now? How did they behind look in 1960 to how
Now,
they behind look
now,
now?
You know what? There was a whole different way. They used to talk like this, and so.
And see, you can't you you you
They
you
have a
can't
whole. They used to have a certain cadence to their talk. They used to talk like this. You know, they don't even talk like this no more.
Listen, for
But
sister,
there's a
for
whole nother way of
70,
talking.
for 70 years, for 70 years, I played music in a nightclub for 70 years, still play.
Yeah.
Look at the rhythm that they obtained in 1970 versus back here when I first went in 1955, when I started singing in a white club. Look at the rhythm that they had. See,
Like Frankenstein.
they got your rhythm now. Michael Jackson taught them this. See, when we go in a
Yeah,
chronological order,
and way more white people can dance also. So
we
remember they used to always
we
do that little two-step dance. Now all of a
right,
sudden they pop locking and everything. I go on
right,
here, elders.
right, and see that's it's funny. It's funny. Me and Cole sit back and look because it was a group of people that was reptilians start coming about the year 2000 when it goes, we could
Yep.
see it in the children. We could
Mhm.
see these reptilians. That's 25 years ago. They
Yeah.
25 years old and they have children, and their children will kill you because that's what you have raised through hip hop culture, or nothing but violence. So what the Constitution is doing is they gonna take back America. What they talking about? Take back America, and they already taken it back, and they showing gradually, gradually. So you have to understand, instead of hating on Trump, understand what he's saying. Listen
His
to what
role.
he's saying,
His
and
role.
see. Don't hate on Trump because see, Trump is a pawn in the game.
Say
He's
that
the
again.
chair.
Say that
He's the
again.
He's the chair spokesman for the Council of Foreign Relations and is the chief of the military. He got 9 people in the military that make the decisions. You got 4 admirals and 5 generals that make decisions on military. The Council of Foreign Relations writes his speech and he hounds foreign relation business. That's his job. That's all he do. When he come out on television and tell you, and you said he making crippling and crazy and all, he telling you what his boss has told him to say to the American people. He
Council of
came out
Foreign
the
Relations.
other day and told you that if you 18 to 25 and you got a record, you going to the army. You want to be bad and shooting stuff, they going to train you, he said, how to do it. You going to be a trained assassin because that's what you are when you go into the military. You're nothing but an assassin, which the assassin Masonic order came in 1090, and those are the Ishmaelites. That's who the Taliban and you fighting right now. You fighting Ishmael's children, the Ishmaelites, which is a Masonic order that came into existence in 1090. You need to know that history of these people because
Brother
they
Dubois.
might be small, they ain't quitting.
Yeah, Brother Dubois. A lot of folks, and I'm weird because we've studied stuff. What people don't know, a lot of the various levels of degrees in these secret societies or religious orders, like when you're going through certain things and you get to the 33rd degree and the 34th degree. But some folks have never heard of the 34th degree of the house of Shaitan and goes up.
Luciferians.
Yeah, Lucifer and all of that. So with them, well, I'm a Mason. What degree and and under what society are you operating under? And you said something a while ago. And I want to bring this out. I don't know if Mark can pull it up. This guy now designs Jews on the thing in protocol. His name is Stephen Miller. Did you pull him up, Sister Monica? Stephen Miller. The Zion of WOZ is orchestrating a lot of these are just extended arms or branches of authoritarian government that my boy Bernie Sanders say oligarchs, but it's deeper than that. Look, this guy name. His name is Miller, Stephen Miller, if you can pull him up. The other guy's name was Leonard Leo. See, these are things that we studied years ago. This young man, Dewar and I, matter of fact, I was laughing coming home, Dewar, that year we took 1 year off, put 3 8-foot tables together, and we studied everything from aardvark to zebra at the school. Right here. Oh boy. Political advisor serving in the White House as deputy. You see him there?
Yeah.
He's 39 years old. He's running the show. A lot of folks ain't ever heard about this man. A lot of them hadn't. So you see what I'm talking about? You out here and you vacillating and going on, and you don't even know what's going on behind the curtain. Here's a 39-year-old man who now is running things because of the group he's with, runs the whole show.
And how old is he, Cole?
39, number 12.
Meaning who they got in there is complete.
That's him. And he's calling
with
the
their
shot.
knowledge.
He's calling the shot.
See, yeah, see, we done studied how they operated so that we know that they use a certain numbering system. It's just like the Bible. See, that Cole handles most of the Bible. But see, the Bible is written up on the codes.
Yeah.
Man, Cole and I broke those codes from stuff. We broke those codes. The 1881 King James Bible is the Tyndale Bible, the 1523 Tyndale Bible. If you ain't never seen one, I got one, and he got killed for that.
Mm-hmm.
Then they turned it into the 1611 Bible, and then it became the 1881 Bible with reading from left to right. Now, it wasn't no J's in the 1611 Bible. It wasn't no J's in the William Shakespeare Tillman Bible. They killed him for writing in this language called the ancient serpent language of the reptilians that read from left to right. You didn't learn your ABCs like they told you in school. You didn't learn your ABCs. You learned your alphabets. Your ABCs is found in a secret society. And it ain't but 22 signs and symbols, and the 10th sign and symbol is a Y, not a J.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't no J's in the ABCs. The ABCs is all capital. Ain't no big God and a little God. Meaning there ain't no big G and a little g like you've been doing. And this word God, while we own it, Google etymology. Ask Google, say, when did the word God come into this language? It'll tell you the 6th century. And it was changed from the word Guten, which was in the 5th century. And it was changed from the word Wooten when it was in the 3rd century. And it was changed from the word Odin in the 1st century, which has always been, and Odin is the god
of Wednesday.
of
Wednesday. He up Wednesday. He's the one over Wednesday.
Yeah, Wooten is Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Right. That's why why do you go to Bible study every Wednesday? Because of Wooten. That's Wooten's Day, and they went to prayer meeting on Wooten's Day. You don't know what's been given to you. So you couldn't become a Christian until 1870.
Yeah.
White folks gave you this with the proclamation, with the Emancipation Proclamation that the government gave you, and you don't understand what emancipation is. Let's look at that, since we own that. Emancipated means that the government took you out of the private sector as a slave, and he took over rule of you up under a proclamation with certain rights. And you were segregated and you had to have a Christian name, and it was all right for you to become a Christian because before you was a heathen. Jesus said you was a heathen. You couldn't become no Christian. You could only be two denominations. You could either be Second Baptist, you couldn't be First Baptist. You could be Second Baptist, you couldn't be Christian Methodist Episcopal. You had to be African Methodist Episcopal or Colored Methodist Episcopal up under the Nicene Apostolic Creed as a Methodist and the Nicene Creed as a Baptist, and don't neither one of them agree with each other, but on one thing. They all say that they agree on the Holy Catholic Church is right. But on their teaching, the Apostolic Creed say you don't have to be baptized, you be sprinkled. The Baptists say you got to be drowned.
My family's from Ohio, and well, they're not from Ohio, but they're from actually Virginia, and then North Carolina, and they're all in Ohio as AME, and we all go by the Apostles' Creed.
Okay.
I already know, baby. My mama was Methodist.
Redeemer of sins.
Yeah.
Church everlasting.
And when you get down to that last verse, it say, "I believe in the Holy Catholic Church." But you could ask my mama, did she believe in the Holy? I said, "Well, Mama, you saying the Apostle Creed?" She said, "I don't believe in the Holy." I said, "Mama, all of these degrees that you got in this month, Dean of Music and stuff." I say, "You taught me reading is comprehension and understanding. Do you understand what you said?" When she finally understood what she said, she quit saying it. Now, the Apostles' Creed say a woman can preach. The Nicene Creed, the Baptists say, "Oh no, you can't get in the pulpit." Now, the Apostle Creed it's all right for you to be LGBT, and the biggest church, Methodist church in the world, in the United States, is ran by two bishops that's gay. They married to each other, two lesbians. Now the Baptists say you can't do that, but they got another group of Baptist people say they can do that. You see, so my question is sister, is to the dean of theology that is at SMU and the dean of Dallas Baptist, which one of y'all is lying on Jesus? That's all I want me to know. That's all I want to know is which one of you lying on Jesus, because your creed and your doctrine don't match. And then I'm gonna take your tale to Revelation 2, verse 15, that's in this book right here, and it tell you, I'm gonna ask you a question. Do sweet Jesus hate anything? And you're gonna tell me no, because he told you to love your enemies, he love yourself, and that's a lie. Paul said that Jesus hated some, and I'm gonna take you Revelation 2, verse 15, where Jesus say, "I hate the doctrine and the creed and the teaching of the Nicolaitans." And now the next thing you got to know is what the Nicolaitan is, and that's Paulinian teaching up under the Nicene Creed and the Apostolic Creed and the Tertullian Creed. And when we go ask, what is America's religious belief, it'll tell you that is Angelica Gospel Episcopal teaching up under the high church, low church, and the broad church. And now the broad church is all you other churches if you ain't Pentecostal. That's their national religion. And see, so you see, you've been hoodwinked and cable told on that to believe. America's religion is not Christianity, because what do they believe in? What is they teaching? Each one of these, you got 92,000 different Christian denominations that teach Jesus different up under these creeds. Jesus said he hated that teaching. Well, we can understand these are Paulinian teaching. What do what is America's teaching? What was the split with the Western Church and the Eastern Church split over Paulinian teaching? Why did the Coptic Church, who got the oldest Bible, why did they split with the Jacobites church in the 5th century from them? Because of the Paulinian teaching.
Now,
That's why they split. The
now,
Jacobites is the King James. He ain't Christians.
let's
What are
take
you
a,
doing with his book?
now, how, now, you mom, well, what has that to do with way things going? They're operating under the system of these codes that are in these books, and they send up their orders based on it, and they got you believing that the Middle East, that the prophecy of the Middle East is going on now. That is not the prophecy. That is not what it is. Because this shit, because they really took the Middle East out of Africa, created a Middle East, then they went in and put these Ashkenazi Jews, Zionist Jews in there on top of the Palestinians, took the land and created a thing called the state of Israel. Now, the Israel that they in the Bible ain't the same Israel they got that. And these people, I'm not talking about, I'm an Israelite. You need to do your research. You need to, because the Israelite in the Bible is mythology. The Israelite you got today was created in 1948. They want, well, no, yes, it is, because nowhere does it say that Abraham was ever an Israelite. Nowhere. Nowhere.
Nowhere.
Jacob name was changed by an angel, not by God, by an angel in the pineal, which was in his head in a dream, had his head on a rock. The angel had to get to heaven, get out before daylight. So now, from that point, you got 12 tribes, but you forget about Keturah's children. She had 5 or 6 sons by Abraham. Where are those children? The war brought out the fact about the Ishmaelites. That's a level also degree in the Masonic order.
Right.
Everything goes up. Everything is tied in under secret society, and they got people chasing wolf cookies and trying to believe in one. You believing instead of knowing. The key thing is don't believe nothing. Do your research and don't believe nothing we saying. Matter of fact, don't do it. Don't believe damn thing we saying. Do the research.
Right.
Quit hearing to debate and listen to learn and do the research. That's our problem. We get so emotional that we forget about when you get emotional, common sense go out the window. Don't believe what nobody say. The Bible says know the truth. Go in there and quit hearing the argue and go and listen to learn and then do your research. Then come back with the documents to support your statement. Well, we always say documentation beats conversation all day long. So I'm glad we brought my brother on. He keeps saying Co. See, that was my name when I was a Hebrew Israelite. Kohen. Everybody know Kohen. 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 Amalekiah. But that's what we were. And for years, when I
Yeah.
say years, I mean years. We've studied
Everybody's
everything from aardvark to zebra, all phases, all topics. That's why we got such a large library. I got 1,500. He probably got about 2,000, and Tyrone got about 5,000. Paul got about 5,000. These are the guys was in our school over on Keys Boulevard. We had one hell of a school. I told folks, this young man right here and I sat down for 1 year, one solid year, work on nobody's job. And all we did was study. We had 3 8-foot tables, butt in. We had books from one end to the other. We had a bookstore back then, and we studied everything from aardvark to damn zebra, including oceanography. You talk about it, we studied that with weather modification. We were talking about this one, and then they just found out about it, that the government had a thing called HARP that controls the weather. Have you ever noticed, ladies and Monica, how accurate the weatherman is? A long time ago, you didn't trust the weatherman. He'd tell you one thing, but now he can almost pinpoint a storm to the because they're controlling it. Chemtrails, all these things, it's all works on
yeah.
mind control. Now, the walls in,
Vibration.
huh?
I say it works on vibration, which is first law of nature.
Yeah, and so there's a book we have in the class called The Occult Geometry and Hermetic Science. We taught out
Yeah.
of that. We all these things. So these are things we was teaching back in the there it is. put it to the side a little bit to put it back over just now. Yeah, there you go. These and it gives you everything we're talking about.
You see
And
it?
you wonder why the world's messed up? Because we're operating on the in an artificial matrix on the wrong frequency. And not only that, we've discussed this on this show. Everybody you see is not a supreme being. These are
Right.
human beings, grown folks, and you trying to make him do something he's not capable of doing. Years
Right.
ago, the white man said he had no soul. The black man did. Now he's got
Hey,
soul.
can
Where
we
he
talk about the clones? Can we talk about the clones and the test tube babies? And
yeah,
now the new thing that's going on, that's a new where we're combining technology with the people because people don't even realize that you might not even be dealing with a real human being
with
when you're talking to
we sat around and watch him. Sister Mom, we sat back in the room and watched him. They go
Right.
on.
Yeah.
They had certain tastes about him and certain food they ate. He said, "There go one right there." We sat around and watch him. Yeah, just watch him. You know, and you hear more and more about why did Trump look like this today? Why did Musk look like they don't look the same every time? Why is he wearing makeup? They got to wear makeup.
Well, you gotta you got you got a new generation due to the fact of inbreeding.
Right.
You had to understand how breeding works. See, I can take
Science with eugenics.
what he did. I'm gonna show you how he did what he did. He took an African female and bred it to a purebred European man. When you do this, it will produce a baby that is a mulatto. You take the child from that mulatto, if it's a girl, you breed her until she has a girl, and you take that baby at 12 years old, breed her to another purebred white man, you got a
Musty.
quadrone.
Yes, quadrone. Yeah, quadrone.
You take that baby, female child from that baby, and you breed it with a white man, you produce an octrone.
Mm-hmm.
You take this octrone baby, which my mama was an octrone, and you breed it with another white boy, it become a mustee. And the only way that you can't tell that it ain't white, if it's male or female, is they got freckles. And most of them had freckles up under their clothes. If he didn't have no freckles that could show, then they would old slave master know he was a mustee. And they kept this in. This is what they call the Creoles. That's how all this stuff was going on in Louisiana. That's how you breed. That's how the breeding farms work. See, a girl can be bred at 12 years old. That's when another generation starts, not at 36 years old. Generation starts at 12. Every 12 years, a female she can have a baby by the time you can look at her by the time she's 24, 26, you know how many babies she gonna have. That's what the old breeding farm knew, the slave master knew. You see, that's all of this secret is that when we studied what breeding was. It's not too many subjects that we didn't study and get an understanding on it. And that's what we share with you. You don't have to believe us. Do the research. Do the research. And see that's
and see the impact that these things have on society today and the mindset and the way
right.
they can function. You know, like I tell everybody, we got supreme beings and we got these human beings and so forth and so on. That's why we say, look, I am a supreme being. I understand that I'm not a
Right.
human
How you think.
being. You know, I'm not another thing. What you mean? The word means human means hewed out. That means monster, beast. You know,
Yeah.
according to Black Law Dictionary's second volume. So we caught up on all these labels that people want to wear and have not done the research, because every name you pick and wear has a vibration and a spirit attached to it that functions, and it's called subliminal seduction in your subconscious mind. That's just below your conscious, that operate between your superconscious, subconscious, and conscious. Those are three levels, and each one of them have another three levels. We don't understand. We don't understand the government because we spend more time trying to argue what some white man said, and you're not looking at the handwriting on the wall. You know, it's right there. It's right in your play here in plain sight.
Right.
Plain sight.
So I know you
wanna
talked
argue.
about the test tube babies. I want to, because I know we talked about the
Well,
breeding farms.
we'll just pull it up
But
and
there's
just see.
people that cannot have children, right?
Right.
And then
The
you have like this IVF and things like that.
IVF.
And then so is it that these people do not have souls that when
They
they're
don't
born
have so
this way?
because look how they're bred. It's almost like a chicken, like a hen laying egg without a rooster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you had
Let me stick this in there. Sister Monica, look at the word parthenogenesis. You probably know what it is. Ibogenesis, parthenogenesis. Then you got Genesis. That's where the word Genesis come from. That's what it got to do with the Bible. They put that in there, but because Jacob is the oldest book in the Bible, but they still parthenogenesis is a form of reproduction springing from an unfertilized egg. Go ahead, look there. It's essential. Go ahead.
Means that IVF is a form of parthenogenesis.
That's it. Now look at this.
Wow, we don't even realize that this is parthenogenesis. That is parthenogenesis.
Yeah.
Because
and
the sperm is not hitting the egg and creating like an egg. This is the in vitro needle going into or whatever it is, maybe a pill you take to allow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Parthenogenesis. So and they are having babies and bringing babies and children in the world, and they're operating and they're grown in businesses, AI. While the children now so damn smart, they come in damn near doing computers right out the womb. Damn.
See, can I say something here, Cole?
You got this, your show. You do it, man.
See, we first have to.
I'm gonna read this real quick for the people.
Okay.
Parthenogenesis is a form of reproduction where offspring develops from an unfertilized egg. It's essentially a virgin birth. All right. So, an unfertilized egg, you shoot it up with like something, and then now you have a child. So, in vitro fertilization is a form of parthenogenesis. Wow.
I tell you, man, this thing is deeper than y'all think it is.
Yeah.
Everything you look at, it ain't human. I mean, it's just not a supreme being. That's why the book says, be careful how you entertain angels, but somebody entertains angels unaware. You don't know what you're looking at.
Right.
Many years ago, they had a commercial called Sun Kiss, and this little dragon say, if it ain't Sun Kiss, you don't know what you're getting. What he was telling you then, you got to look out because some shit coming down the pipe. It looks like an orange, but it ain't an orange. You know, so you could grab anything, go into bed with them, sleeping with them, and you wonder why your stuff is jacked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
you don't know whether they was born from this
you don't
vitro fertilization. You don't know exactly how they were born and how they come into being.
Yeah, and you grab
it. See when they when everything that you see on Earth right down here, all the people are aliens. You didn't come from Earth. You came from somewhere else.
Yeah.
You came from either Nibiria, Draconia, Palladium, or Mars. Now, you can take this. What they did is with cloning Everything is a clone.
Mm-hmm.
We are clones. If you're not the first, if you're the second, you're a clone. You're not the original. So in
Right.
order for them to produce what they produce now, is that they knew this knowledge and we didn't know this knowledge. And so now you have to understand why. And the first law of nature is vibration. The second law of nature is the laws of opposites. The
Mm-hmm.
third law of nature is the laws of balance. And the fourth law is the thing of the music.
Mm-hmm.
And see, the feel of the music, everything should be, if it ain't in tune, it's out of balance. Everything is out of balance as we speak right now.
Right now.
Every second they get more out of balance. And that's why you got the children that got all of these malfunction, which we did a stat where 45% of the toddlers, that's 0 to 5 years old, was on mind controlling drug, which was called Ritalin.
Mm-hmm.
85% of their parents was on mind control drug or mentally ill. This was in the year 2000. This
Right.
is 225,
Yeah.
meaning that them children that was diagnosed as that, they got children. So what you dealing with now? Baby children. You
Baby.
see how they walk that down? You see, you had to understand when it get into the gene pool,
Poo. Yeah, gene poo.
you can't stop it. It's just like homosexuality. It's in the gene pool where you can tell a baby at 2 and 3 and 4 years old if he gonna be sugar britches. I can. I can look at him and tell.
Most you can.
I can look
Monica.
at him and tell when he's 3 years old if he gonna be sugar britches.
Mm-hmm.
If he gonna
Monica.
think. So you got 980 million people in America with a mental condition because homosexuality is a mental condition that don't know the difference between a man and a woman, don't know the difference between a male and a female. You got a male think he's a female and the female think he the male. That's a mental illness. It
Hey,
was
hey,
that all the way up into 1990 when they don't want to hurt nobody's feelings and not
Monica.
tell it like it is. And you got 980 million, and look what they did. They got it in your school system.
980,000.
And everything starts in California. We found
Monica.
that out doing our study. All
Monica.
of this stuff starts in California. Who
California.
owns Hollywood? Who owns this Hollywood? See, it's then we have to go in this here. If we go into the study of this here, then
Pull it
we
back.
will understand
The chart, yeah.
that
I had no
off of
while
that
ago.
chart there. See, right there. And
Mm-hmm.
see, this is world government. Who is world government? Who's in charge of world government? And what country do the world government own? The world government own every damn country.
Monica.
you, they went up under the name as Roth. You know him as Rothschild.
Mm.
They went up under the name. Rothschild told you in the protocol, you fight one war and borrow money from us. We own your country. And you can't never get out of debt. You're gonna have a deficit as long as you in existence. Now, Woodrow Wilson
Mm-hmm.
did this in 1914, and Henry Ford was raising hell for him to do it and wrote a book
Called the
called the
International.
Communist Manifesto
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
lost his business behind this when he told them, man, don't y'all go borrow no money from the international bank from them people they own America. Well, then the stock market fell in 27, and that's when America is owned by the bank. You lease land from
Mhm.
America. You don't own nothing. You lease land from the government. See, you go around here, you own something. You don't own nothing. You don't
No.
own nothing. You don't own anything but to have your mind at peace
Yeah.
for knowing what we know. That's why we have peace of mind and going on about our business because we already know what's going to happen before it happens because they already done told you. It's one thing I like about white people. They wrote their knowledge and put it in a book. This is why in the 13th century, when the print press came out, the Pope was against the print
Mhm.
press because he say, if you put the print press, they'll know, they'll know,
They
they'll
would
know. It took us a long time for us to know, but we know
we
because
know.
you wrote it and put it in a book. You put in a book how you genocide every nation of people. You put in a book how everything was ruled once by colored people, and you took it and you put it in a chronological order how you took it. You came from the east, the Masons say, how you traveling from the east to the west. Why are you traveling from the east to the west? God came from the east to the west. Well, no God's over here in the west. You came over here in 925 AD, October the 23rd, and it's a national American holiday. And you can Google this, and because you don't know nothing about this national American holiday called Leaf Eric the Red.
Yeah.
Google that, sister. Can you Google Leaf Eric the Red Day? And it'll tell you it's an American national holiday. But how many people know who Leif Eric the Red is?
The Viking.
He was their ancestors that first
Mhm.
came over here
Yeah.
to this land. The
First.
wampum pen, they he told about a fierce people that lived over here when he got back. He wrote about the people over here. Then the Spaniard came over. You can trace the history of the people that start coming from the east to the west. But it was some people that lived here that is older than the people that came from across the water because the flood didn't come over here.
Mm-hmm.
The tree of knowledge is what you say in the Bible, the tree of knowledge. It's where the Garden of Eden is. Well, the tree of knowledge is Seattle, Washington, which is the gateway from the east to the west. There's a tree called a redwood tree. It don't grow but one place, but there. After it is 12 years old, you can't pull it up from the ground. The root is 36 miles in the ground, the root of that tree. It takes over 3,000 diamond saws to cut a tongue through one of them trees, and they ain't cut no more because it's too expensive to even try to cut a tongue through it. It's called a redwood tree, and it's only found in one place down that coastline where the pebble people live. They call them Indian, where the pebble people live. You know what the pebble people say? Why they move out of California? Because the earth tremble. And they say only a fool will live there. Because when the earth trembles, your ass going back into that water pretty soon, because the mountain that's in Yellowstone Mountain, if it blows its top and it's ready to blow, it'll create an underlying water volcano system all the way. Pompeii,
Yeah, did that.
overdue. It is 10 million people, more people living in Pompeii right now than it was when all of them got destroyed. And that Mount volcano go any minute. Hawaii the same way. You had to know the history of these volcanoes, because a catastrophe
Hmm.
is the only thing that'll get away from where the world is in today, the condition it is with homosexuality. You can see a record in history when homosexuality got at its peak, something happened. The earth over there was destroyed by what? The weather. Have you noticed the weather lately? The weather's breaking all records. Floods, snowing where it ain't supposed to snow,
Mm-mm.
in diverse places. We got history of this. They talking about the warming of the climate. You got no history of the warming of the climate, but you do have history of ice age. When the climate warms and goes into an ice age, they put out a movie in 2012. And see, that's another thing that Co and I, we mastered the teaching on all the subliminal messages they done put in the movies,
Yeah.
in the children movies, into your nursery rhyme, Humpty Dumpty, Little Bo Peep, Little Black Sheep. What are they saying? All of these are codes that they use, that we broke this code system. That's what we're sharing. We're sharing the knowledge with you of what the system is. We'll tell you where to go get the knowledge. We have no problem with telling you what book to go read, because we done read a whole lot of them. And one thing my big mama say is, once you read a book 50 times, you memorize it. Them years that we spent, we read books over 50 times, taught out about over 50 times. That's why we memorize. If I done forgot where it is, Cole remember. If Cole forgot, I remember.
I
If
called the one.
we both forgot, Paul, Mahal, and Tyrone gonna remember. Our students gonna remember. If we get to talking and our mind go blank, which it can do, somebody remember. That's how we accommodate each other on this knowledge that we had studied, because we had a system that was taught in the black schools of how to teach a child. See, I came from a Negro, my diploma say I graduated from Round Bunch Negro Colored High School. That's what my diploma say. And Ed Crockett was a college,
Mm-hmm.
Mary Allen College. My mama was dean of music there. But what's so killing about it, my first grade teacher to the 12th grade teacher, every last one of them had more than one master's degree and a doctor's degree. That's the first through the 12th. The only person that was in my school that was my teacher that had a bachelor's degree was Professor Hopkins, our coach. And they considered him as ignorant. That's what Mama was. But Professor was, and you know what's so killing about it? Professor was the last teacher. He just died last year, that died at 100 and some years old. Because every day he would run the loop. The loop around Crockett is 5 miles. Professor would run that every day. And when you went to him, If you played little league up under him, which all of us did, you ran that loop with him. And he ran that loop every morning when he retired, and when he got now, he could run that loop. He run that loop. But it was just amazing that all of my teachers would be that taught me in high school was qualified to teach in college. So I came out of a school system that we was taught different. We had agriculture for 4 straight years. The girls had home economics for 4 straight years, from your ninth to the 12th year. Each year you had a project. And see, that word agriculture is a compound word. You have no culture, as Prop Williams would tell us, if you don't know who agar is. And that's how to grow your food. Now, the person that called himself a Black African American, he don't know anything about agriculture. And the first thing that any nation of people should know is agriculture, because you only need two things, like my daddy said. You only need food and shelter. Anything else is a luxury, Daddy would tell me. That's a luxury, boy. You don't need but two things, food and shelter. When you got that, that's all you need. Anything else that you have is a luxury to you because you don't need it. And that's a mind thing. See, everything in creation is mind. We found that out a long time ago, being cold. Ain't nothing in creation that don't have a mind to it.
Don't have a mind.
Because it's vibrating up under the first law of nature. You had to understand how the first law of nature works and when it come into existence and stuff. And that's what we shared a lot of information with your sister. And what questions would you like to know about?
You know, honestly, I don't really have any questions. I'm appreciative of your time. We've been here for an hour. I'm not even gonna let this last because I want to bring you back. Okay.
All right.
This is gonna be the first part one.
Mhm.
The unseen government with brother Dawaya and Dawaya Zakaya.
Let me give you a list of books that you should have. Is it okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, you should have a book called The New World Order by William Sultan. You get a book called Conspiracy 300 by Dr. John Coleman. You can download the Protocol of the Elder Zions now. You can do those books, and the information in those books are very important as we speak, because we are acting that part of that book out. We see everything is a play, is a big old drama. It's nothing but a play, and we acting the play out, coming out of this book called the 1881 King James Bible. Ask yourself a question. The first 39 books of the Christian Bible is the Torah and the Tanakh. The other books is the teaching of Paul, the history of a man named Apollonius of Tyana. That's his actual name. His teaching. This is what you've been put up on. But ask yourself, what I asked myself, Cole had to answer that question for me. Why would the first 39 books of the Bible be Judaism, which the Torah and the Tanakh is not Judaism Bible, because they got the Talmud, they got many books that you got to know about before you can understand Torah in the Tanakh, because the Torah is the law, to the Tanakh is nothing but the history of the people. They don't believe in them two books. They believe in the Torah, that law book, but the Tanakh is their history. What is the Talmud?
The Talmud, yeah.
And the mission, the one that started with an M, the Michelin.
Yeah.
You have to know those knowledge to understand how you've been deceived. You've been what we call deceptive intelligence. You've been deceived by that when you was a black African American, that's a Christian, that's a Democrat. And you didn't become a Democrat until after 1970. Most of the people during the 40s and the 50s and the 60s in the South was communists. They belonged to the Communist Party if they wasn't Republicans. They belonged to go check the history out. Why you think they kept telling Martin Luther King was communist, belonged to the communist people? Why did they say that? It's because the Scottsdale boys.
So was he really a communist? Was Martin Luther King?
They belonged to the Communist Party. They belonged to the Communist Party because pull up Scottsdale boys. The Communist Party, Khrushchev, got them out, came in, and they was finna execute them for raping a white girl. The Scottsdale boy, you can pull up that information. And then most black people became, because Khrushchev was helping the black people. They belonged to the Communist Party. They accused Martin Luther King of being with the Communist Party. They accused Wiley College when they won the black debate. Look at the debate. They accused them of Communist Party.
And then made a movie out of it. And see, what you have to realize, you got to look at what does the word communist mean? What is the word? What is that? What's the other one? Socialist. What that means, and all these things, because they got you thinking one thing, and that's not what it means at all. And also, you have to look up the etymology of it, what it means, and break it down.
And see, let's if we go on this committee of 300 chart, Zionism is the government of the world. The next government of the world was communism. Now, the next government is favorism. Now, see, this is what that's what Hillary Clinton and Barack believed in favorism, and Barney Sanders believed in socialism. And that's, you had to understand that. See, liberalism and socialism ain't nowhere on this chart that says Republican form of government. America is what? A Republican form of government. They have no use for you until you get down here where it says down here, you at the bottom of the chart, down here, right here, U.S. government. You see where you ranking? You ain't here.
On the Council of Foreign Relations, says U.S. government and media. That's
right.
Right now.
Yeah. See, you are the executive arm of the Trilateral, which was Rockefeller, the Council of Foreign Relations, which is Republicans, Trilateral is Democrat, and the Bilderbergs is the Messianic Jews of America that don't want to give in to the Zionist Jews. And the Zionists don't want to blow you off the chart. So how they break you? They took China, the guns of China, and broke you economically wise.
Right.
They broke you where you in debt where you can't get out of debt to them. And see, it's just like Khrushchev said in the 30s when he say,
we'll take America, not buy a shot.
Well, they can definitely do that now because they got 2 nuclear submarines that thrown off a radar, can't detach, and they put one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, and call the White House and say surrender. You got to surrender. And they don't want to come to those things They trying to get you to understand where we're finna go up on the federal control. When we go up on the federal control, the National Register is the most powerful document that was put into place in 1960 by the Kennedy boys. See, Kennedy
This is
pulled it,
what we're trying to
pulled that he was gonna do this. He was gonna do this. When we studied this, we seen this stuff. How Kennedy said that he got 12 executive orders he put out, and put out this federal register where the president can call national emergency and they take over. There ain't no more Congress, ain't no more nothing. It's strictly upon the military. But they wasn't ready to do that because Kennedy was what? He was the first Catholic president, and two words that they don't use no more is the mafia and the mob. They wasn't gonna go there. See, especially the mafia.
Wait, so do you guys know that the actual Secret Service killed Kennedy, or what the person inside the car?
Oh, yeah. But see, they wasn't going. This wasn't going to go into effect now. But when we can go from 1964 to every last one of these executive order, and executive order number 1100 provides for the mobilization of all civilian work brigades under government supervision. That's the only one ain't been done.
So why did they kill Kennedy? What was the real reason?
Because Kennedy was a Catholic, and they wasn't going to enforce these executive orders that we holding in front of our hand at one time. And they wasn't going to put it. See, you had two Catholic presidents. What was their name? Kennedy was the first one. Who was the second one?
Joe Biden.
Really?
Yeah.
They weren't going to. And they excommunicated him because he agreed with gay. You only had two. They come back with the push.
Yeah.
These are the secret society, how they putting the push back on. But the only executive order
is against the gay, because I know a lot of I would think secret society would be for gay, because if you actually go into the Roman Empire, where a lot of these secret societies kind of came out of, the gay stuff was a part of their society. So why would they be against the gay?
And so you can look at it. The only executive order ain't put in force is that the government, the federal government, take over the workforce. Now, 2/3 of the people in America work for the government. The government owned 2/3 of housing. And when the federal take over is the way the Constitution was at first. It was nothing but the federal party. The Constitution don't make any provision for a political party. So when they became the states, which they was known as countries first, they became states, they let them have political parties. And they say they did away with the federal party, became the government.
That's right.
And what Trump is telling you, go back to the beginning, and that's on the dollar bill in Latin, that they were going to go back to the beginning. You going back to federal control, meaning that there ain't no more political parties, ain't no more Congress, and ain't no more of this mouth that you Democrats got, because these two parties is causing too much confusion for America. America's a cooperation. It ain't the people. It ain't we the people. It's a cooperation. And this is the first president that hasn't been a general or a politician. Was Trump, he a businessman. They don't need no politicians as chair spokesman no more, or a military man. They already got that. They got them 9 military men that make the decision for America. We
Look,
got 5 generals and 4 admirals.
Monica, we want to do a part. I think me got a show to do tonight. What time your show tonight, me? You got
It's a 10.
10. Okay, so you got time.
It's a
Well,
10.
I'm gonna come by.
Yeah,
Well, you got. I'm
but
gonna come off here, go grab something to eat, and take that mid, and then I'll be come back and listen. Okay.
no, I tell you, we can go part 2 whenever y'all want to. It doesn't matter with me.
Monica, we'll pick
So
it up right
you know what? I was gonna have a young lady come up and
bring her up.
she was gonna come up, but she dropped her phone in the water.
Oh wow. We'll work out
okay.
a part 2, and we'll pick it up right here on the count on this 300.
So before we end, I want everybody to give like some final like wrap up words.
Well, I'm gonna let the war handle that, because I mean we'll be back tomorrow night at 6 with some more heavy.
All right, tomorrow night at 6 we're doing Principles of E5. We're like
go ahead.
Bella.
The Principle of E5 and its impact on the world today. We got a young man going to come on and testify what the reading did for him and how it have carried him into deep research to find out his people. He's got a heck of a testimony that he want to share with us tomorrow night. And he's going to come up and share what it has done for his family and how it's moving in his family. And we want that to come out, and we're going to be sharing some more things on the Principle of E5, because E5 is alive and well. It's alive and well and moving. You know, so
right.
I say so. Yeah, he gonna tell it tomorrow night.
Right. So, and I really like give reverence to my ancestors and also my elders, because listen, without these elders, you know, it's one thing to hear stories, it's another thing to get it from the firsthand experience of these people who have been there, talked about it, researched it, got the books to talk about it, from the books that you can't even see, that's not even available. Okay, you can't even get them on Amazon. You hear me? So, brother Dua, Yakaya, did you want to like make some a statement before we end? You there?
Yes. You say what now?
I want to just get a final statement from you as we get off the chair.
Oh, I don't have any final state. The only thing I can say, if you interested in knowledge, do the research. I mean, you have to have a passion for research, and that's what I've been doing for a long time. I put it like that, because I always would ask questions. Always ask questions. Never believe. Become a believer. Be a knower. See, when you believe in something and you haven't researched it to make sure that it is a fact, then that's where somebody can make a fool out of you. And that's my final word. Never become a believer in anything. If they want you to believe, where it come from, ask them 5 questions of who, what, when, how, and where. And that's best I can tell you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. This has been a great build. I hope that you guys go and do the replay, because a lot of knowledge was dropped today. Please go back and watch it. They have been breaking it down, and this is not the first show. Not the last show. It's only the first. And God willing, we'll be able to talk to these elders, and they're going to be able to give us more and more information on what they know. Thank you so much, Brother Dewar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ashe.
Mission, trying to get it right. Transition, changing the way that I see life. Transition mind. I'm on a mission, trying to get it right. I'm transition in my life. Making a transition. Ooh, ooh, making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Trying a mission, a mission. I'm on a mission, on a mission. I'm trying to get it right, changing the way that I see life, transitioning.